Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond Reality Podcast, where we dive deep into the transformative power of virtual reality and artificial intelligence in neuro rehabilitation. I'm your host, Brianna Hodge, and joining me today is my co-host, Claire Ashborne. Claire, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Brianna. I'm really excited about today's topic because we're tackling some of the most common myths surrounding VR therapy. It's such an important conversation to have, especially as VR continues to make waves in healthcare. Breaking down these misconceptions is critical for advancing the adoption of innovative treatments in rehabilitation. Misconceptions often hold back progress, and today, I think we have the opportunity to clear up some misunderstandings and show how transformative VR can be.
Absolutely. There are so many misconceptions out there, and today we're going to unpack them and shed some light on the reality of VR therapy. Let's jump right in. The first myth we'll address is VR is too expensive for healthcare facilities. Claire, what are your thoughts on this?
This is a very common concern, Brianna. Many assume that VR technology requires a massive investment, but the truth is, the cost of VR systems has significantly decreased over the years. Affordable and scalable solutions now exist, making it accessible to clinics of various sizes. For example, a study published in J-Mirror's Serious Games, 2019, highlighted how small rehabilitation centers successfully integrated low-cost VR systems to enhance therapy outcomes without straining their budgets. The beauty of VR is in its scalability. Clinics can start small and scale up as they observe the benefits. When you compare the upfront investment in VR systems to the ongoing costs of traditional therapy, think specialized equipment, facility space, and increased staffing, the long-term savings and improved efficiency are undeniable. It's about thinking of VR not as an expense, but as an investment in better patient outcomes and operational efficiency.
That's a great point. And let's not forget the potential for reducing readmission rates and improving patient recovery times, which can save healthcare facilities a lot of money in the long run. I remember reading about a clinic that implemented VR for stroke rehabilitation and saw a 20% reduction in therapy sessions needed. That kind of outcome directly impacts the bottom line and demonstrates how VR can offer both clinical and financial benefits. And when you factor in things like patient satisfaction and the reduction in burnout for therapists, because VR can make their jobs easier and more rewarding, the value becomes even clearer.
Exactly. It's about looking at the bigger picture and the value VR adds over time. Plus, companies like Neuro Rehab VR are offering flexible pricing models that allow clinics to start small and expand as needed. They provide tailored solutions so even smaller clinics can benefit from the technology without overextending their budgets.
Now, let's dive into another common misconception. Virtual reality is just a passing trend. Claire, why do you think this perception continues to linger despite the growing evidence of VR's impact, especially in fields like healthcare and rehabilitation? What factors might be contributing to the idea that VR is merely a temporary trend rather than a lasting and transformative technology?
I think it stems from how VR first entered the public consciousness, mostly through gaming and entertainment. But the technology has evolved tremendously. In healthcare, VR is backed by solid research and real-world applications. For example, a study in The Lancet Neurology in 2020 explored VR's role in neuro rehabilitation, demonstrating its efficacy in improving motor skills in stroke patients. Additionally, renowned institutions like the Mayo Clinic and Cedars-Sinai are using VR for pain management and mental health treatments. That's not a passing trend. That's innovation rooted in science and patient-centered care. If major healthcare institutions are investing in VR, it's because they see the long-term potential and tangible results.
It's interesting to see how VR has moved from being seen as futuristic to becoming an essential tool in modern therapy. It reminds me of how telemedicine was once doubted but is now widely accepted and even considered indispensable, especially after the pandemic. The same trajectory is happening with VR as it proves its value.
Exactly. The sustained growth in research and development signals that VR in healthcare is here to stay, and it's reshaping how we think about rehabilitation and patient care.
Let's take a closer look at a widespread myth. Virtual reality is only for gaming or entertainment. While VR has certainly made a name for itself in the gaming and entertainment industries, this belief overlooks the incredible advancements in real-world applications VR now offers. From revolutionizing healthcare and rehabilitation to enhancing education, workforce training, and mental health therapy, VR has evolved far beyond its entertainment roots. Claire, why do you think so many people still associate VR primarily with gaming? And how can we shift this perception to highlight its powerful impact in fields like healthcare and rehabilitation?
This is a big one. While VR did gain popularity through gaming, its applications have grown far beyond that. In rehabilitation, VR creates immersive environments that can mimic real-life scenarios. For example, patients recovering from a stroke can practice walking on uneven surfaces in a safe, controlled setting. A paper in Frontiers in Psychology in 2018 highlighted how VR environments significantly improve motor functions by engaging patients in gamified yet practical tasks, leading to better outcomes compared to traditional rehabilitation exercises. It allows for safe exposure therapy, social skills training, and cognitive rehabilitation, all areas where traditional therapy can fall short.
That's so true. And I've heard stories from therapists who use VR to help patients with anxiety by simulating social situations, something traditional talk therapy alone can't fully replicate. The personalized nature of these experiences can make therapy more relatable and impactful. It's amazing how technology can bridge gaps in therapy that were previously hard to address.
Right, it's all about creating personalized, meaningful therapy experiences. These simulations aren't games, they're carefully designed therapeutic tools that can be adjusted to meet the specific needs of each patient.
The next myth up is if VR therapy is ineffective compared to traditional treatment methods. This belief can hold people back from exploring innovative and potentially life-changing rehabilitation options. Claire, how would you respond to this skepticism? In what ways does VR therapy complement traditional approaches, and could you share how virtual reality is being used to enhance patient outcomes and provide more engaging, personalized rehabilitation experiences?
I would say the data strongly disagrees that VR therapy is ineffective. Numerous studies have shown that VR therapy can be highly effective when paired with traditional therapy. For instance, a meta-analysis in Neuro Rehabilitation and Neural Repair in 2021 found that VR-based interventions led to significant improvements in motor skills for stroke survivors compared to conventional therapy. Beyond the data, VR therapy engages patients on a deeper level, which is crucial for sustained rehabilitation.
I agree. It's hard to ignore the power of increased patient engagement. When patients are motivated and engaged, they tend to stick with their therapy, and that consistency leads to better outcomes. I remember a therapist sharing that their patients actually look forward to VR sessions, whereas with traditional exercises, they might have found it to be repetitive.
Exactly. The immersive experience can make a huge difference. When therapy feels interactive and enjoyable, patients are more likely to stay committed.
This next myth is the worry for many therapists that patients won't take VR therapy seriously. This is something we hear a lot, and it stems from the belief that VR is just a gaming tool or entertainment platform, not a legitimate form of therapy.
That assumption really underestimates patients' ability to engage with their recovery when they see tangible benefits. When VR therapy is personalized to their specific needs and goals, patients are much more likely to take it seriously. Studies have shown that patient engagement increases when therapy is interactive and measurable. For instance, a study published in the Journal of Neuroengineering and Rehabilitation found that stroke patients who used VR-based rehabilitation programs demonstrated significantly higher motivation and adherence to therapy compared to traditional methods. The built-in progress tracking in many VR systems allows patients to visualize their improvements, fostering a sense of ownership over their recovery. When patients can see measurable outcomes like improved balance, increased range of motion, or enhanced coordination, they feel more motivated to continue.
That visual feedback is incredibly powerful. It creates a sense of accomplishment and accountability that traditional therapy sometimes lacks. I remember a therapist sharing that even older patients who were initially skeptical about using VR became fully engaged once they noticed how it helped them regain their balance and confidence in movement. It's about seeing progress in real time and realizing that these virtual exercises have a direct impact on their daily lives.
Yes, it really comes down to how the technology is introduced and supported. Therapists play a vital role in explaining the purpose and benefits of VR therapy. When patients understand that VR isn't just a game but a therapeutic tool designed to aid their recovery, their perception shifts. Additionally, therapists can customize the difficulty and types of exercises to align with each patient's progress, ensuring that the therapy remains both challenging and achievable. A study by Camerau in 2011 in the Journal of Neuroengineering and Rehabilitation demonstrated that task-specific VR rehabilitation improved motor recovery in stroke patients, highlighting the importance of individualized, goal-oriented VR interventions.
Now, let's tackle a common concern that often holds people back from embracing virtual reality in rehabilitation. VR causes motion sickness in most people. This hesitation is understandable and frequently voiced by both therapists and patients alike. However, it's important to recognize that significant advancements in VR technology have greatly minimized the risk of motion sickness. What do you think, Claire?
Yeah, that concern was more valid in the early days of VR when the technology wasn't as refined. But today, VR systems have significantly advanced. Modern headsets feature higher frame rates, improved graphics, and user-centered designs that prioritize comfort. Research has shown that these improvements dramatically reduce the likelihood of motion sickness. A study in Frontiers in Psychology by Rubinich and Owen in 2016 found that with proper design considerations, such as minimizing latency and optimizing field of view, VR-induced motion sickness can be significantly reduced. Therapy programs are also designed with gradual exposure in mind, allowing patients to acclimate at their own pace, which further mitigates discomfort.
Those are really important points. I think people underestimate how much VR technology has improved. Plus, therapists are trained to recognize when a patient might need to take breaks or adjust settings. These adjustments, like modifying the speed of movement or simplifying the environment, make VR therapy a very manageable and safe option for most patients. The adaptability of the system ensures that patients can benefit from VR without feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly, it's all about creating a supportive and patient-centered experience. With thoughtful program design and therapist supervision, VR therapy is not only safe but also incredibly effective in promoting recovery.
Before we wrap up, I want to highlight how Neuro Rehab VR is actively addressing these myths. They offer scalable, affordable solutions that make VR accessible even for small clinics. Their XR therapy system and AI real-time note generation tool, Vita, are designed for ease of use, ensuring therapists can integrate them smoothly into their workflows. Plus, they provide comprehensive training and support to reduce the learning curve for healthcare staff. It's companies like Neuro Rehab VR that are turning these myths into outdated misconceptions.
Absolutely. By focusing on user-friendly design and evidence-based programs, Neuro Rehab VR is making therapy more effective and accessible for patients of all ages. Their approach truly bridges the gap between technology and patient care.
And that's what it's all about, using technology to improve lives. Thank you, Claire, for this insightful conversation, and thank you to our listeners for joining us today. Until next time, stay curious and keep pushing boundaries.
Take care, everyone.